All right, all right. I know. I know. It's been a while. I'm trying my hardest here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Coffee Talk. Actually, a few of you have asked about this second part to the video, and we're talking about the machining that happened with the truck. You can see down there, truck works. Truck's running good, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. Okay, machining. In our last video, we talked about how I had a few options, and some of those options were swap it, rebuild it, and something else. But the other option was to get a new head and cross your fingers. But we ended up rebuilding the whole motor, right? So that includes the short block, which is the bottom end of the engine. And so since the bottom end was going to get rebuilt, the whole engine bay was dismantled in a sense, and the engine was pulled out completely. The guys at Technique Vehicle Outfitters did this part and many other parts, but we had a hard time finding machinists. In Portland, Oregon, there were actually a few recommendations, but they all are going out of business or are closing up shop because of retirement, and this trade is becoming more and more scarce as time goes on, and people aren't kind of following in their family footsteps. One of them, I think, was open for 60 years previously, so a few generations of people doing machine shop stuff. So yeah, we found this shop via a recommendation, and the shop that we got the recommendation from does Peterbilt rebuilds, Cummins rebuilds, like bigger truck stuff. So not really the person for us. And they recommended this shop, and I did my best to do all my kind of research. Basically, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, and then just calling them and asking them kind of, how the process would go. And they were incredibly helpful and actually really willing to let me film all the things because they have such a great setup. It's very clean. It is like, I guess, not your typical machine shop. Sometimes I've been to shops where it's just a mess, and I don't get confidence when something is so, kind of specialty like the motor, and I want to have confidence in the shop doing the work. The best choice for us, and everything seemed to be pretty chill. They were they're happy to have me film the process, and in this video you're probably getting B-roll of that process. We didn't go into any depth of like talking head stuff or any kind of details because partially this was a new engine for them. It is very, very similar to a Cummins inline six, and I believe they've done gas versions of the inline six motor that comes in gas, 1FZ or whatever. And basically, all we had to do was drop off the motor, and that went along with the head, the new head, made sure that everything kind of fit together. So they honed and cross-hatched the cylinder walls. They, bored everything out to the specs of the parts we got from Australia. So those parts were ordered via Engine Australia. I didn't go OEM because we wanted to bore out the cylinders a little bit. It's like technically oversized, but it's tiny bit. And so Engine Australia can send you the pistons and rods to spec, and then that's what we had to wait on in order to start the machining process. So they were really like attention to detail, and that was like, yeah, it's a continual like confidence booster, and this is getting done correctly. I actually ended up going with forged rods this time, so they were beautiful, beautiful pieces of machinery, or like billet aluminum or whatever they are, and they'll never get seen except for in this video because I shot some B-roll of it. But so one of the other things they did was kind of balance everything out with the flywheel and everything attached to the front of the motor, as much stuff as we can bring along, and ended up not needing any type of like reworking in that way. It was pretty spot on for OEM, and that was to their expectations too. So, and then the last process on the motor was to deck it. So they took that top layer off, and then also check the head to make sure it all matches, and there's no gaps or anything. So everything checked out. They did it quite fast, and you'll have to stick around for the price because I'm going to do a whole video on pricing. But they did such a good job. Again, this is G&A Cylinders in Portland, Oregon. I really couldn't recommend it more. I hope I never have to go back, but that's basically, that's where I would go from now on, if I have engine issues or if I'm going to rebuild. And with that said, I hope I never have to rebuild anything. So they did the machining, they did all the measurements and made sure everything was nice and flat and worked great. Got new bottom end bearings. Basically all the short block has all new internals. Also, I went with like new valves and like all that stuff inside the head too. The only thing inside the engine that is the same or taken from the previous, I guess, head was the camshaft. That was the only thing that stayed because it seemed fine, and got like all new camshaft bearings and all, all that stuff. But yeah, that was the only thing that carried over. And then when this was all done, I just took it back to Technique. They washed the engine bay, they detailed the engine bay before putting anything in. Small things like that you normally can't do. And one of the things that they did, we'll talk about it more in the next video, but when they got it back, we got to be able to do like rear heat delete. If you're looking to rebuild your motor, and this kind of goes for any motor, right? It's like, just look for those little things that you can do that you normally cannot do. That's why I think it costs more than I was expecting, because of those extra steps and those extra details cost money. And if you can do the labor yourself, you're going to save like a substantial amount of money. But I'm very happy with the process, and we just got done in this thing traveling 3,500 miles to Moab, to LA, to Arizona and back, and 0 issues. Like, ran awesome. We're still on stock, 18 PSI. Well, not stock, but we have a new turbo. Everything was stock pump and injectors and 18 PSI. So that's what I was running beforehand. And then that was on a G turbo green wheel. We ended up going with a UFI turbo. But yeah, I think that it was definitely the right choice. I think I would have had a lot of headaches with the swap. I think a lot of people commented why I wouldn't do a swap, and it's simply because I did not want to deal with the headaches of what comes with a swap. If I was going to, and the only one I was going to do was the Cummins 6BT, but the conversion kit is still not available from Australia, so I would have been waiting quite some time. So, thanks for kind of following along on this. I know that some people already know how to do all this shit, but I don't. I've never rebuilt a motor in my entire life or had one rebuilt. So this is an all new learning experience for me. And I think that the reason why I wanted to make these videos, because I didn't really see that kind of offered anywhere. And even though my information might be, you know, at a kindergarten education level, I think that it's still valuable to share at least my experiences, because by sharing my experiences, it really just kind of helps people along. And that's what I, look for as, a creative or business person. I'm always looking for a bit of YouTube university and learning stuff at, maybe little to no cost. But I think from experience, you can really learn a lot, and sharing that is super important. So yeah, stick around. Next episode, we're going to talk about all the work that was done over at Technique. And if you're not familiar with Technique, they do a lot of 80s stuff. So definitely check them out. But we're going to talk about the upgraded turbo, what we have for fuel pump coming. Yeah, kind of all the bits and pieces and little things that we did to kind of button up this build or rebuild, I would say. So we'll see you next week. And I need to come up with a tagline. Anyways, we got to go. It's 7:41. Got an hour till sunset. But yeah, we're out here in Washington, so can't complain. See you guys on the next one.